Y'all know what we do. Y'all know what we came to do. Huh?
The ISUPK, under Commander General Yohana, will be hosting the Lord's 54th annual Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Downtown Convention Center. This is something that you do not want to miss. Make sure that y'all bring the entire family. The Downtown Raleigh Convention Center. For Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Go to ISUPK.com to purchase your tickets today. $200 per every adult over the age of 17 years old.
We are not the same. No, we not related. I'm not stuck on living. Death is a vacation. My camp undefeated. You cannot debate it. You just want the clout.
The Lord's 54th annual Passover, April the 1st, is coming down to Raleigh, North Carolina. That's right. Commander General Yohana has done it again. You don't want to miss this. Booyah!
ISUPK presents the 54th annual Feast of Unleavened Bread. Last year we did it big. This year is going to be way big. More brotherhood, more sisterhood, more UPK. On Sunday, April 2nd, 2023, we're going to be at 421 South Salisbury Street in Raleigh, North Carolina at the Sheraton Raleigh Hotel Ballroom. We calling all Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to come join us.
Your third eye peephole, line for line, this shit too easy. It's like a free throw. Mastered the game too early. This bitch.
Remember, admission to the Passover is $200 per adult. That's $200 per adult. For more information, call 919-697-8257. Call 919-697-8257.
All right, this is Rude Speech, man. We got Captain Tower in the building. Yeah. So, Cap, man, let us know where you from.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me, man, on Rude Speech, man. I'm breaking down right quick,
don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart, one West when I finish, one West when I start. Big shine, big glow. I be gone till November, let my bitch know. I'm back by the winter, bubbling like Crisco. I need my pockets all swollen like a lymph node. Talking out the side of your neck, get you a slit throat. I stay broke, don't care if I got $1 million. Looking down on me, I put your brains on the ceiling. Fuck kicking down the door, we bout to demo the building. Fake cats all in these groups, I wonder who ya. Shoot ya off your pulpit, hallelujah. 4-pound gun youngin' down like it's a cougar. On my feet, combat boots, or is it Puma? Words spreading around about me, none of it rumor. All truth, very big facts, very large caliber on very small gaps. Compact pistols, ladders, and all that. About to throw the switch in the Nina for rapid fire. Got the 5.7 equipped with the magnifier. Boom shakalaka equipped with the rim rocker. We ain't really got beef, yeah, Ramak would have been shot you. The best rhymer since Pac and Big Papa. Big llama, big juice, I'm Big Jamba. Quarter tank of gas, I ride like a big timer. No informer, no sweat, not inside of my conglomerate. Wreck like King Tonga. No Asian pun me, no chink in armor. Remain calm through our pain that bring drama. Stay focused on things that bring commas. Took all pressure, applied and made diamonds. Stayed true, kept shit pure, my name honored. Paid all dues and debts and kept promise. Make sure you show respect, pay homage. That I'm one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West when I start. I said I've been one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West when I start. I'm the hottest on the market, don't make me start it. I'ma pull up in a Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I remember days was trapping out the apartment. Now one West about put me up in a starship. About to fly to friendly skies in this bitch. Spit the truth on the corners, I lie a little bit. I'm a stand-up nigga, I die before I switch. Down, no we up, I'm cool with who I with. I'ma be war the king and stay dangerous. Hold down the biz and fam, remain blameless. Now rappers drippy with styles we made famous. First with studs and spikes in any city. Designers charge a stack for shit that can't fit me. Had friends on my coattail way before Jimmy. Funny how the general ain't even see a penny. Better show respect, get smoked like a chimney. Keep my name out your mouth, don't even think it. Send a real Smith at y'all, no Jada Pinkett. Both ball heads, my grain a $1.50. Lost my man to the game, that pain that stuck with me. Had to find a cheat code to the street though, cause them niggas getting fouled, shoot you like a free throw. Keep spitting acid like a Mino, and a nigga be the nicest with a mean flow. Try to ride my wave, you gon' need a speedboat. I'm hot like 100 degrees in a peacoat. Scarf in the sweater, I embark every letter. It's UPK, not a part, but together. Homie, I've been one West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West when I start. One West bred, one West vetted, one West pumping through my blood, don't forget it. One West in my brain, one West in my heart. One West when I'm finished, one West.
All right. Let's lock you. Shalom, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Bear with me. All right, Israel. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. We've been established and teaching the truth since 1969. And this is the Monday night history class. Since 1969, under Commander Junior Hanna, we are the men that's been authorized to teach the truth of the Bible. If you learn from somewhere else, you're learning from unlearned individuals, unlearned groups of individuals or groups of people who teach a doctrine that is not of the Lord. You understand? So, in this school of UPK, we are here to teach the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth according to their identity, according to their culture, according to their God, our God. Now, this is the history class, so therefore, we will be diving into like history about the topic. So on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, the title of this class is called Valentine's Day. Is it love or is it lust? But I believe on TikTok it says Valentine's Day, is it Valentine's Day equals love or lust? So essentially it's all about the same, about the love or the lust. And we're gonna go into the history about a little bit about February. I might dive into about stuff about the hearts, where the hearts come from. There's a lot of LGBTQ plus IA inside of Valentine's Day, how it started. There's several, I can say there's several different origins, but there are a few starter points, how everything ties it together. Coincidentally, it was never about you loving somebody and giving them a box of hearts. Real quick, if y'all could in the chat, just so I can get understanding what people are coming from and their ideas about Valentine's Day, if y'all could, put in the chat what you thought Valentine's Day was about, or why you used to celebrate it or honor it for whatever reason. I'm not here to shame my people. I'm here to teach our people the history of these holidays, of these different cultures that does not benefit our people none whatsoever. So let's see who got in the chat. All right. So yeah, we have been taught that. Let me make sure I got all my Phones up. So Lucky Israel. I'm watching on several different all right. I got TikTok up, I got Facebook up, I got Twitter up, I got YouTube up, so make sure that I'm watching that in case anybody got any questions. Also, if you got any questions, just type it in the chat, and then also I'll answer your questions. So, Valentine's Day. So what I was taught as I was growing up was that, it's about, it's a day that you're going to love somebody. Not necessarily like a spouse or a boyfriend or girlfriend, but anybody. Love Day. Yes, I was taught that too. Like I was like in school, I remember like I'll draw a couple hearts and get a rose, and I'm like, yeah, if you love somebody, don't give it to your father. I'm not father, give it to your mother. That's what I was told. Let's see. Your Bible won't help you when who conquers you? When Momo conquers you. You have to explain what the Momo conquers you. The Bible helps to save the Lord's chosen people. It will not help people you love. It will not help the children of Edom. It will not help any race that had a dealing inside of the Lord's chosen people, like their servitude. It will not help the Hamites. It will not help the Ishmaelites. But it will help the Lord's chosen people who studies and follows his Bible and follows his doctrine. You understand? But you have to show improvement where it says in the Bible where it will not help the children of Israel. Because every plague that the Bible spoke of thus far has came to pass. All the wars has came to pass, just about all of them. There's some still that's on the way to come. So you have to show improvement where it says we will not be saved, of those who are by bloodline and who keeps these laws, statutes, and commandments. Don't know who that is, but I thought I'd try something different with the Loke song. I thought I'd try something different. So back to it on topic of the class. But yeah, if y'all got any more questions, keep typing them in. So yeah, the Most High sees all. Nothing on this earth lives and breathes without the Most High's permission. You understand? So whatever the Lord deems necessary. So the Lord allows things to die. He allows things to live. So it don't matter. Not an insect won't die without the Lord authorizing it. So there's no way you can run where the Most High will not find you, if he saw fit to come out for you. But again, to the guy that whoever it was, just show and prove, and show and tell me where it says in the Bible you cannot. You won't be saved, or you will perish. Everybody. You understand? Okay, you the king. Well, just show and prove. Where's your kingdom at? Yeah, you type in the name of your country. Who you ruling over, your servants, and you shows your currency. All right. So Slocky, y'all, I was just answering some questions on the chat. But back to it. So what we was taught was Valentine's Day is all about like love. You write some hearts, you draw some hearts, give out some candy, give out some flowers, particularly roses, and that's how you show your love and your appreciation, right? So they always take out that one day and say you love somebody, and it was kind of like universal. It didn't matter if it was boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, children, relatives, co-workers, etc. So it was all about who you give your affection to, like who you're showing appreciation to. So, but there was actually history behind Valentine's Day. So in that history, we was never taught how it started amongst different cultures of people and what it means to them. With that being said, if it means something else to them, why is we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we can care less about any other race of people? Why would we care about what it means to them? Like, why would we honor and celebrate someone else's culture? Like, if we're going to be honest and fair, we got to talk about those people who are considered like culture vultures and we got to make sure that we don't attack someone else's. We don't attach ourselves to someone else's culture and honor their culture. It's one thing if you're in servitude, like in America, there's certain things we have to do as far as like work. So if you got a slavery, they make you work on the Sabbath, so forth and so on. But we got to make sure that we attach ourselves to our culture. This is what the shirt says. I know it may be backwards on TikTok, but yeah, culture. We got to attach ourselves to our culture. Like, what does the God of the Bible tells us to do? You understand? It's not all inclusive. It's not all about loving everybody else. Like, what does the God of our Bible tells us to do? Bear with me 1 second while I read some of these. Yeah. No, we are not part of the Freemasons. All right. No. Maybe some other fake Israelite group you ran into, they might be in unison or conjunction with some other types of Freemasons, but the Israelite School of UPK, Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, ISUPK, we're not affiliated with nobody. You understand? We've been established and teaching the truth since 1969 under Commander Junior Hanna. If it ain't of the ISUPK, it's not of the Lord, you're not in the truth. All right? So, we're not affiliated with nobody, no Freemasons, no Christians, no other Israelite camp, Israelite school. If you don't see our banner, ISUPK, it is not us. We are not affiliated. We're not affiliated with Scientology. We're not affiliated with Egyptology or Kemet or Nile Valley Africans or Buddhists or whoever the other cat was trolling in here, talking about he has his own kingdom and stuff like that. We're not affiliated with nobody. You understand? We teach the lifestyle of the Bible. The culture of the Bible is for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. So yeah, we are not no Freemasons. You understand? All right. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. Right, the history of Valentine's Day. Let's see, not shot my thought. So we're gonna dive into the history of Valentine's Day. So what we know is, generally speaking, like it's about loving somebody. Now, if you're an adult, it's all about, typically it's mostly about men going after women. You entice her, you tell all the sweet words and you want to spend money on her. You got to get her some type of chocolate. You know what I'm saying? What would Valentine's Day be if you don't get her some type of box of chocolate? And then you got to give her those roses. They got to be red. If you're fancy enough, you're going to get a white roses. You got to have the rose petals sprinkled on the ground. You know what I'm saying? You got to get her flowers and take out and look nice. And you take it to their bed chambers and tell fire. Yeah, that's when people wait to do really nice things when America tells us to. Like, no one ever thinks about, when are you just going to just do it because you love this husband of yours, or you love this wife of yours. You know what I'm saying? When you're adults, it's all about going out and lusting over that person. Or if you don't have nobody, you're single, it's all about getting that basket of candy. Like, I just drove down the street. So a lot of people got their baskets out there. They're really selling B-Day gifts. Bears and all. Bears and heart candies and sweet tarts and all this other stuff. That's all about selling. Just so you can give this to some girl, game her on up, and lay with her. It was never about the lust that you felt like you really honored this woman or you honored this man. It's all about who can you give a gift to receive some goods from, to receive that good loving. Who are you going to tell fire to? So that's why the title of this class is about, is it love or is it lust? And when I break down the history, you're going to find out that it has nothing to do with you, as in blacks, Hispanics, and Americans. Like, we got to understand, like, we have like our own culture. And I'm going to keep reiterating our own culture right here, ISUPK. It's like it if y'all see it backwards. But shalom to everybody coming into the chat. Let me check out some of these comments. Also, the shock my thigh. If I miss something, select if you could respond to one of these chats. Salakia. That's why let me catch some of these questions as I'm typing in to everyone else. All right, so yeah, so I'm going to ask about where I get the Latinos from and Native Americans. There's several. One, you can find them in the Bible, especially in the Apocrypha, but you can look inside there's several different books based on the studies of like their culture, how like they kept a lot of feast days, how they still spoke Hebrew, how you can find some of the oldest Ten Commandments written on stone. Let's find these here over here in these here Americas. They fit the biblical curses as well. So in a very oversimplification, that's how you can find out why the Latinos or the Native Americans are the Israelites. Based on biblical antiquity, like their customs, when certain Europeans came over here to these here Americas, like they studied them. When Christopher Columbus knew where the Israelites had went. And so he studied them, and he found out, he knew what language they spoke. He knew the customs that they kept. If you go deep into like certain parts of Mexico, some of them still keep their customs. Meaning like they still know a little bit about how they looked, like the foods they ate, the dietary laws they kept. I don't know if you noticed, but like there's some older photos of my Hispanics brothers and sisters, and they had afros. They had a lot of certain features, and over time, you know, afros doesn't mean that you're an Israelite, but the point is that they are black people as well. They just have a lighter shade of brown. But the point is they kept their customs as well. They fit the biblical curses. They're part of it and like who they are. What I could do a 12 tribe breakdown, and I can go over each tribe and tell you where they came from, how we know it's true that they are the children of the Israelites, and that can be something like Michael dedicate the class just to educate you on that if you need it as well. All right. So the history of Valentine's Day. Are y'all ready? All right. So let's get into it. So first, I'd like to ask y'all, like, where does the custom of the giving someone a heart come from? All right. Do anybody know that? Like, where does it come from? Like the giving the heart away. Anybody? All right. No sweat if you don't. So, like I said, when it comes to Valentine's Day, there are, amongst different cultures, there's an origin point of it. And Valentine's Day is more of a compilation of different certain origin points that comes together. It's kind of like Christmas. You know, you got a couple different origin points that comes together. And why they honor that, you got Saturnalia, and then you got the winter solstice, you understand, and then you got Nimrod. So those are different customs that come together to make up Christmas. So Valentine's Day is kind of similar to that as well. It just have a different few starting points, and they come together to make V-Day. But the custom of giving your heart to someone you love comes from two Roman sodomites, two Roman we would call them LGBTQIA plus, the LGBTQ homosexuality in a nutshell. It comes to these two Roman men, Lucius Vorenus and Titus Pullo. And their story was the Romans at the time used to promote homosexuality to their soldiers. So these are two Roman soldiers. And they used to promote that because it felt like if you love someone, you will fight harder for them to live. So that means you would kill, you will fatality other men to ensure that they survive. So like they would go to war, and they would become excellent soldiers if those soldiers was lovers, because men do tend to whoever that is, the user, you are correct. That's one of them. Yeah, you are absolutely correct. That is one of the things of the Valentine's Day in February comes from. About he put in there, for those you don't know, he said it comes from an ancient Roman festival called Lupercalia, which took place every February. That is it. That is one. That is one of them. He's absolutely correct. So that's why I said earlier, it kind of like there's a couple different points that comes together. It's kind of like, they just keep adding things to it. I might even break down where the whole heart comes from. I'll tell you, it's something crazy. I might have to try to draw it. My drawing's not that good, but I do my best. All right, so I'm gonna keep going. So, but the point is, like, the Romans knew that if you love somebody, you will fight harder to protect them. And they felt like if they had lovers in their military and their soldiers on the field, you'll do that much to ensure that they survive, to ensure that they don't get hurt. You understand? All right, so that's what they did. They used to promote it. It's promoted that, so if you love someone, you will fight for them. The woman goddess, the woman in marriage. Yeah, they did a lot. So you can hear this. You got two lovers. So they feel like if you're fighting next to someone you love, you're gonna fight that much hard to protect them. And and them to promote same sex, them to promote homosexuality. Like, why they didn't think that if you had a wife at home or children at home, you would not try to be a good soldier to ensure that you can go home to your family. Like, that's just how sick and twisted the Romans thought. They rather you to have, if you're a soldier, these are men soldiers, rather it be same-sex soldiers on the battlefield that think that they will fight harder to protect the Romans when they go to war, but not a soldier who has a wife and child at home. They felt like, he might not fight as hard to come back home to his wife and his children. But if he was homosexual, he'll fight that much harder for his lover to go out in fatality other opposing armies. All right, but that's why you see a lot of these customs that they do, and they still take place today. And I'm about to go ahead and break it down to y'all now. So they promote it by this. Here's what the sick minds of the Romans, what they do to promote it, because not all men are just homosexual. Some men just like the opposite sex, and that's all they want. They want to go with that right there. But what the Romans will do, they'll do small things that'll make you look at another man. And you see it in today's time, especially in sports. What they'll do is they'll promote it by taking baths and showers together. Right? That's how they'll promote it. You got men bare, no clothes on, have them take a shower. You right next to another man. You understand? You right there washing yourself, bathing, right there next to a few other men. And who still do that today? Your athletes do it. Your football players do it. Your basketball players do it. And then I suppose like your hockey players do it. I don't watch too much hockey, but I'm not familiar how they greet each other on the ice, if that's the right word. But like, let's take football and basketball. Anytime somebody does like something good, like a hard hit, or you made a 3-point shot, or you got the ball back, whatever the case may be, they will tap you on your behind. They do it in football, they do it in basketball. Why do men who likes women want to touch another man on his buttocks? These are some of these small things that make you in a sense, like, familiar with homosexuality. Like, we've been programmed to be like, okay, it's not bad. It's just football. That's how it is. But now, I don't care if I shoot the basketball, if I stole the basketball, I went shot it and made it 3. So hooping like that. Hooping or whatever. And I make the 3 ball, and you come tap me on my behind. No, I'm not with all that. Or if I'm playing football and I throw a 50-yard touchdown, or I ran and got a first down or something like that, and you come tap me on my behind. So these are the things they use to us to promote the alternative lifestyle. I think I can say that, and everybody will understand. I'm trying to make sure I don't use some words that might get us shut down or banned off of TikTok or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. So for the remainder of this class, when I'm talking about homosexuality or the LGBTQ plus IA, I'm just going to leave it under sodomites or alternative lifestyle. All right. So when I say sodomites or alternative lifestyle, that's what I'm referring to. So the Romans, to promote this alternative lifestyle, they do it by having people take showers and baths together, just like our oppressors do in the military today. They all in that shower together, bare, no clothes on, right next to one another. And why do they have them taking showers together? Like, why don't they have stalls in the showers? You know, there's no reason to do that, to take group showers. You know, but here's the kicker though. They'll separate the stalls in the bathroom, but not, they won't do it for the shower. Like, they'll separate stalls when using the bathroom, but not for the shower. So that's something that Esau, Sodomites, not Sodomites, Edomites, Romans, white Americans, so forth and so on, and Europeans or whatever, Caucasians, this is something that they just been doing. You know, a lot of people don't have a desire to just touch a man on his behind or to shower right next to a man. So when they push this certain lifestyle to our people, well, not to our people, just to their people, who eventually came to us, it made us be familiar to, like, it made us be like desensitive to it. Like, oh, that's just how it is. That's just normal, right? But it's not normal. This is not a normal lifestyle that we should be living inside. This is not a normal lifestyle that we should be exuding into. We should not be partaking into it. So, like, that's what the Romans did to their soldiers to promote it. So now they're pushing it into you, in front of your face. Yeah, you go there, shower right next to your soldier, your soldier buddy. I don't know what words they used back then. What you gonna call your bro? Shower right next to your bro. There you go. Y'all already naked. You see what he got going on, and y'all shower together, and y'all come up together, and y'all gonna fight together. But that does not mean, just because you promote an alternative lifestyle, that does not mean he's going to fight harder to protect his lover. But just as much, a lot of men who goes to war, some outside of some who has like a taste for fatality, for be fatal to someone else, a lot of people go out just so they can get back home. So they don't have to promote alternative lifestyle, but they could have just promoted, say, hey, look, if you can survive this war, we give you an extra few more dollars. You go back to your wife and kids, so forth and so on. But it felt like if you was an alternative lifestyle, you're going to fight hard. Let me check some of these chats. Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, you're right about the Roman goddess. That's also correct. Yahushua, Jesus Christ, or Yahushua Mashiach in Hebrew is the way. You break, death comes, embrace the true gods. You have to say who the true gods are. And it sounds like you saying plural. In ISUPK, there's only one God, the Most High. So, without Christ, you say, is it bad if you want 30,000 wives when I get to heaven? One, I would like to ask you, why? I'm assuming for this is thou what you are. Thou art Christ. All right. First, I'd like to ask you, to answer your question, are you saying that you have to die to go to heaven? And you want 30,000 wives? Good night. Yeah, because if you could answer that question for me, why do you think that you have to go to heaven to get 30,000 wives? But he didn't say, like, you know what I'm saying, like 300. He went to 30,000. He didn't say 3,000. He went to 30,000. I don't think that's enough days in a year. Some of their rament's going to diminish. I don't think you can manage to 30,000. But if you could, just answer that question, like, why do you have to go to heaven to get these 30,000 wives that you might desire? All right. So like the MO, I'm checking the chats. Let's see if we got any questions. All right, we all seen Tawab. I'm going to keep going on with the class. So far we know that to promote the alternative lifestyle, they used to have the men taking showers, group showers together. So they're bare in front of one another and make them be all close and around one another. But they chose to look at two boy lovers, Lucius Varenus and Titus Pullo. And this is who the Romans used as like their moniker to make men fight, looks like to fight harder. So there's no stalls in the sports or in Esau's militaries. Bathhouses, steam rooms are all done on purpose to promote homosexuality. So if you notice, like with the steam room, you got a man in a towel with nothing hardly on him. And who is he next? Right next to another man, all basically bare. You know what I'm saying? So these bathhouses, these steam houses, these are just done to promote the alternative lifestyle. Just promote men sodomites. And it's not done like that by accident. And a lot of cultures that come from the Romans and the Greeks are still relevant today, like with the sports in the Colosseum, so forth and so on. So these are lifestyles that goes on still to this day. And our people have yet to break away from such said Roman culture or Greek culture. They need to come into the culture of the Bible. You understand? All right. If you could put that in there, 1 Timothy 2 and 12. If you could tell me what it's saying, 1 Timothy 2 and 12. If you can put that in there, just so I can understand what it is that you're trying to understand about that scripture. Before I go over here and try to pull it up. Salakia. For those of y'all who's watching, when I say Salakia, it just means excuse me, or like one moment. That's all it means. So that's Hebrew that you're learning. And y'all can tune in Friday. Tune in Friday to learn more Hebrew. So 1 Timothy 2 and 12. So I went ahead and pulled it up. So I got 1 Timothy. I'm gonna read it for those who don't know. Somebody in the chat had a question about 1 Timothy 2 and 12. This book of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp the authority over the man, but to be in silence. So what's your questions about 1 Timothy 2 and 12? Just to give it just a general breakdown, and if you got some other questions, I'll go to a little more in depth. But it says a woman, he suffered a woman not to teach. The Lord's pasture are the men of the Bible. It's men that they teach these scriptures. So women are not allowed to go out and to teach the Bible, such as you see today inside of like the Christian church. I'm not familiar with the Muslim mosques that got women teachers, so I won't even speak on that. But for like the women are not supposed to go out and to do that type of work of the Lord, not to teach men. Now, they did have women who had visions, who prophesied that they had a vision, and she went to a man of the Lord, and she told him his vision. He analyzed it, and he gave it to the men of Israel. But women are not allowed to teach the Bible, to teach men of the Bible. And then on top of that, when it says to usurp the authority, I mean, like there's a hierarchy. There's a chain of command. Everywhere you go, there's order. There's nothing on this earth that's equal. There is a hierarchy. There's something above something else, no matter how you look at it. So I can just pull the scripture up for you by paraphrase for the time's sake. There's the Most High, then there's Christ, then there's the man, then there's the wife, then there's the children. So that's the structure. It's children, mother, husband, or children, wife and mother, and husband and father, and Christ is over the man, and the Most High is over Christ. So, just to answer your question in a nutshell, women should not, and shall not, and should not, and cannot usurp the authority over a man, such as you see today. Now, granted, there has been a big movement about women coming into power, like i.e. the feminist movement, but even that right there, that's just another prop. You know, so when women say they want to be equal towards the men, they're mostly talking about those top 1% of jobs, like those super wealthy men that has like a lot of power. But women say they want to be equal towards men. They never say they want to build roads. They never say they want to work in a sewage company. They never say they want to build buildings. They never say they want to work in the railroads. They never say they want to. What are some stuff that a lot of men do? They never want to do plumbing. Like they want to be like the CEO of this company, the president of that company, the GM here, some big manager there, you know what I'm saying, some high-ranking nurse here, a doctor there. But it's never really about truly being equal to a man. They just want to be like part of that top 1%. And the average man that they're saying they want to be equal towards, they don't want to do those jobs. Like again, so anytime you got somebody, especially for our sisters, who's saying they want to be, men get paid much more, men do much more. And it's okay. You know, we was built different. We were made different. And if you look at it from Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we didn't hinder our women from doing work like that. Meaning like this was white Americans. This was what the white woman had against her white counterpart, which was her husband. But our women, we didn't have the type of power that was hindering them, so to speak, for lack of a better words. I might be oversimplifying it, but we didn't have that type of power that wanted to diminish them in that nature. You understand? So, again, for those who saying you usurp the authority of a man, women just not allowed to teach men the Bible. That's all. The men, the Lord made the men of His pasture out of the men, not the women, because the Lord is a man of war, and men go to war. We want our wives and children safe. You understand? We want them safe at home, or safe at this particular campsite, or whatever the case may be in today's terms. So we want our women safe. We want our women fighting. Like our women, Scripture says our women's feet were so delicate, like they never really touched the ground. Like our wives and children, they are precious to us. Just think of your wife like a nice piece of jewelry. You're gonna take care of the jewelry. You're gonna if any dust get on, you're gonna clean it off. You're gonna cherish it. You're gonna hold it, and you're gonna let nothing happen to it. So that's how we treat our wives when they are righteous, and when we was righteous as well. But to answer your question, that's 1 Timothy 2:12. But if you got any more questions about that, just type it in the chat, and I'm gonna continue on with the topic of the class. All right, so we know that to promote homosexuality or alternative lifestyle, they have men showering together. You got these steam houses or steam rooms, and men either they're bare naked or they're halfway naked, and they're just out here just shucking it up together. You know what I'm saying? No clothes on, shirt all off, stuff swinging everywhere, just around each other. These are the small things they do to promote homosexuality. All right. So they do this in sports. And, you know what I'm saying, like I said earlier, like if you do good, they'll pat you on the butt. Like, nah, miss me with all that. Nah, I don't want to be touched right there. Especially not by no man. You understand? All right? So, like, when you look at stuff like that, it's just all nothing but nasty and frolicking behavior. That's all it really is. It's nothing but nasty and frolic behavior. So that's what they do, but we got to understand, like, this is something the Romans did about these two soldiers, because that's what they wanted to do, to make sure that you fight harder for your lover that's on the field. You fight harder for your boyfriend. You understand? So in a nutshell, so over time, this is what has become known as what the Romans would do. Titus and Lucius, the story about them, just give you a little brief history. Titus loved Lucius, and someone tried to fatally to try to do something fatal to Lucius, and Titus defended him, and he fatality the enemy. You know, and guess what he did? So they're fighting, they're at war, and someone tried to, the other soldiers, the army, the enemy tried to attack Lucius, right? And Titus, someone defended him and defeated him and prevailed against him, right? And guess what he did to the enemy? He cut out his heart, and he gave it to his lover, happy boyfriend, whatever. And showed that he did that to show like that's his affection. That's what he that's the way he loved somebody. He loved Lucius. So that's where we begin the giving of the heart. And over time, we like to contribute things to like the Valentine's Day massacre and some other social or psychopath who might be infatuated with fatality somebody. I'm only saying fatality for YouTube and Facebook, because you can't say a certain word on TikTok, so I'm saying fatality. You can't say the other K-I-L word, L word. So that's why I'm saying fatality. All right. So the heart, that's where the giving of the heart comes from. The actual heart. 2 Roman soldiers, they were boyfriends, and Titus loved Lucius. Someone tried to kill Lucius. I mean, the enemy, they was at war, and Lucius went and fought the enemy, prevailed against him, and then he took out the enemy's heart and gave it to Lucius. And the Romans took that story and they promoted it everywhere. They promoted it everywhere in their life, like propaganda. Like all in the Romans' alternative lifestyle military. All right. So that's what the story of, like, you give your lover a heart. That's the birth of that. You give your lover a heart. All right. Now, that's where the whole lover heart comes from. Who's this? Bear with me 1 second. Yes to who you are. Ryan over it. Yes, I am an Israelite according to the Bible. And name of our culture is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, ISUPK. We've been established in teaching the truth since 1969. Started in 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And to answer your question, no, we're not a Christian, and we are the Jews of the Bible. Well, then for the Ryan, you just have to prove that I'm not. Go inside of whatever book you can find and prove to me that I'm not. That's all. You say we're not the Jews, no sweat, then just prove it. That's all. If you can just show me some proof, and please do not try to run to like Ancestry.com, say something like that. Just show and prove that I'm not a Jew. And what's your nationality? Put in the chat what your nationality is. Now, if you put that in, show and prove to me that I'm not. All right. All right. So I'm going to keep going on. So now we have the heart. So for what we know is that's where the birth of the giving the heart comes from. Now we do have the whole heart when it's like this right here that they give away. Now that symbol comes from, I want to make sure y'all can see that good. Little heart symbol. Everybody's familiar with that, right? Let me make sure y'all see that. Yeah, I might have drawn it. Let me see if I got it. Okay. Yeah, I did draw it. All right. I want to. Can y'all let me know if y'all can see that? Let me see if I can see that. And when I was drawing TikTok, I might have to go draw it again. I don't think. Yeah, it looked like I can see a little bit. So I'm gonna put this back up here. So y'all see the whole heart, right? What you see is you see the lines that go down. Make sure y'all memorize those lines that's going down. And I'm gonna break that down to y'all. So I'm gonna show you here to TikTok. Here's the heart. You'll see the arrows pointing down. And I'm about to break down where this heart symbol came from. All right, so let me check the chat real quick. You are African. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they tell me I am. It says the Israelites were Middle Eastern. Well, to answer your question, there's a book called Babylon, from Timbuktu to Babylon to Timbuktu. There's a book that it shows the migration of the Israelites, how they went over into Africa, into like the western country of Africa. Then there are several different maps. You can look inside of the Library of Congress, U.S. Library of Congress, and to see that it'll say that like the land of Judah in Africa. So the Jews went through Africa, and they're not just in the Middle East, as in Jerusalem. That was conquered. Jerusalem had failed, I believe, by Titus. So the Jews had fled. So there's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, and it shows about the migration of the Jews and how they went over to Africa. Then if you deal with the Africans, they'll tell you that the people that they sold to the Europeans was not of their own people. They were not Nigerians. They were not from Ghana. They were not West Africans. They were people that was living amongst them. All right, so and you yourself, you didn't put in there what you are. Put in what your nationality is. All right, so let me go ahead and break down this heart. So let me get this to y'all real quick. So the heart, this little symbol right here. This is a symbol. This is actually an image of someone bending over. All right, so I'm about to go ahead and break down. It became a symbol in the 1800s, and it was called Shanghai. All right, Shanghai was like, well, they would like coerce. They use like coercive techniques to you, or they'll kidnap you, or they'll trick you into being forced to be a laborer on the ship. Yes, all right, so Shanghai. So this is what they would do in the 1800s. So they'll like coerce you, do like coercive techniques just to, bribe you, trick you, get you drunk. And it's called Shanghai. All right. Next thing you know, you're on the ship, and the first place you land is in Shanghai. So now you'll probably be in London, you go to some parlor, some bar or something. Next thing you know, you done got drunk, you wake up, you're on the ship in Shanghai. Hence Shanghai. All right. Let me 1 second, y'all. Answer the question on TikTok. Ryan, we are the true Israelites, the true Jews. What was it for Ryan over it? We are the true Jews. But for the icy, what is this? Icy Castle. What is your nationality? Like, if y'all want to say that someone's not the nationals of a race, put in what your race is. All right. So for round over it, I'm not anti-Semitic when I am Shemitic. All right. No, I'm not. I'm not African. That's Hamite. There was in the Middle East. All right. For Jay, what was this? Jay Glizzy. Who are you saying is confused? And just answer that question for me. But I've already answered Ryan's question about the Jews and why they went from the Middle East over into Africa. I referenced a book that he can read. Read his fundamentals. All right. So for to keep going on back on the topic of class. All right, Salaki, TikTok and YouTube. So I'm gonna just show this picture one more time. The TikTok, I'm gonna show y'all where this heart symbol come from. I actually drew on that because this is how it originally used to look. So hopefully y'all can see that pretty good. I'm gonna raise it up some. Let me know if it's any good. If I need to draw on it, make it a little darker. All right, everybody see it. So here we go. So we know that Titus loved Lucius, and he took the heart of an enemy and gave him his heart. And the Romans promoted that to their alternative lifestyle military, that you fight for someone you love. That's what the whole giving of the heart. Now the image was changed because the heart has like the different arteries in it and veins and red and blue and all this other stuff. They changed it in the 1800s. It called from Shanghai, and what it is, you'll be in somewhere part of the world and you'll be drunk or you get coerced or tricked, and then you'll dock or you'll land in Shanghai. All right, hence the word Shanghai. So there was like a lot of business that was been done on like those ships. You understand? So that was all right. So there was a lot of business that was been done on like those ships. You know what I'm saying? So like, so mind you, you got men, mostly all men on these ships. You're selling for weeks to months at a time. You don't know where you're at, and some men are still have nasty desires that they have to fill. Yeah, you're right, sus. They is with it. One person had one good question though, but we're still gonna fish though. We're still gonna remain truth over here and undefeated as we are. So if we stay on topic. All right, so with these sailors with these sailors on these ships, they still find need to they want to pleasure themselves by being out, exuding all type of lewd and nasty behaviors. You're right. So you got like the ships and sailors and the pirates. They needed to pleasure on those ships, and back then, prostitution couldn't say they were selling it, so they had a symbol. So with prostitution, they still didn't say, yeah, you can come buy this at that particular time. So the symbol was the heart. What it looks like the heart, and the symbol is really, if you look at it, that's why I draw like those lines. It's someone bending over. So you take a woman that's standing and she bends over. So that's how you got the heart today. So you take someone who's standing up. So I'll show TikTok first. You take someone, if they're standing up in front of you and they bend over to touch their toes, this is exactly what it looks like. All right, so YouTube and Facebook, imagine someone's in front of you and they bend over and they touch their toes. This is what you will be seeing, especially if they was naked. This is where the whole heart comes from, the heart shape. That's why I draw like those lines on the side of it. So that was the symbol used over there in the 1800s. You saw this symbol, that you can go get some. You can go buy a whore, or you can buy a boy, some man, not a boy, a man, or whatever kind of sexual deviance that they was all in part of. That was all kind of nasty. So there we go. So that's where the heart symbol came from. So now we know that where the giving of the heart comes from, where the heart symbol comes from. So now I'm just going to go into a little bit of the mythology of about the Romans, and another guy had put in there about Lupercalia. So I'll just go over that real quick, and then I'm gonna go give y'all a few Bible scriptures to arm y'all up with about what love really is. All right. So the reason why I said is Valentine's Day is about love is about lust. In actuality, nowadays it's all about sex. It's all about who you're gonna sleep with, when you're gonna sleep with them. Trying to not necessarily say procreate, but there's a lot of origin stories you can take with this Valentine's or month of February, which I might make it a part 2 class. So as I said earlier, in the Roman mythology, there were twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. All right, and with that, the story of Romulus really led to the event or the founding. So the story of Romulus and Remus led to the event or the story of how Rome was founded, or what led to the founding of the city of Rome, based on these two twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. All right, so it led to the founding of the city of Rome and the Roman kingdom, Romulus and Remus. All right, so there's a brief history about it. There was like two twin brothers. There was like in a basket that was floating down the river, and the river god Tiberius, was watching over them. Like they floated, and then like they hit a tree, and they was taken care of by a she-wolf. Like a she-wolf suckled them and gave them milk or whatever, and said that the she-wolf took care of them inside of a cave, and it was known as ISUPK. So now you got two twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. This is the story. This is how the This is what led up. These are the events that led up to the founding of the city of Rome and the Roman kingdom. About two twin brothers, that was flown down the river, suckled by a she-wolf inside of a cave known as ISUPK. Now, that's what we have. What we also don't know is it's called later on. It's called a Feast of Lupercalia. So Lupercalia was a pastoral festival of the wild pagan celebration of sex, violence, and fertility, their way of purifying the city in ancient Rome. So, right there of the Lupercalia, that's right there. It's nothing but the celebration of sex, violence, and fertility. It tells you their own history. So this whole Valentine's Day, it's all about sex, violence, and fertility. All right, and it started off two twin brothers who were suckled by a she-wolf, saved by the river god Tiberius, and they floated and ran into a tree. All right. So I'm going to keep going. In ancient Rome, they celebrate this annually on February 15th. Lupercalia was also known as Februatus. So now we're getting the month of February, Februatus, after the purification instruments called February, which is the basis for the month named Februatus. So now we know where February comes from, some old Greek mythology, two twin brothers basically founded Rome, and they had a festival where they just had sex and they killed people, they fatality people, where they hurt people, and that's what they like to do. So now we know what February comes from, the whole February 15th and Valentine's Day, as all this other nonsense. It comes from Roman mythology. All right, so February, so I'm going to keep going on. I have a few more just to give y'all, and then we're going to go into like some scriptures of how to arm up the children of Israel and teach our people how we're supposed to love. Because Valentine's Day, it is not about no love. It's all about sex and lust and two sodomite lovers in the side of the Roman military who gave the heart to somebody. It's all about prostitution, Shanghaiing, someone bending over. But just imagine, like when your kids give you this heart, now that you know where their image comes from, which is prostitution, they're telling you like, yeah, I sell that too. Like it's just all kind of filthiness and nastiness and sexual deviance. Like I don't want no heart, nothing. You understand? So like this is what they taught our people. You understand? So we gotta understand, like we gotta look into the history of things. You know what I'm saying? Thanks be to the Most High, you know what I'm saying, for raising up the men of the Israelite school of UPK on the Command Jihana. Like we're gonna teach our people the truth. Like we're gonna tell our people, like, okay, what we're doing is wrong, what we're doing is of heathen customs. All right. So just give y'all just a little bit more about it. Over the twin brothers, like they was raised up together. They had a dispute. Romulus kills Remus, all right? And Rome comes from Romulus. Now, they made sacrifices of goats and dogs to Luperci. Their sacrifices was performed by Roman priests. And that's why they come up with like Vedic, because it's all about like fertility and sex. February is a god of purification. That's what February comes from, purification. You got purified and have sex and be fertility and blah, 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 blah. Like this is nothing but us worshiping other gods. So if you give somebody that heart candy or you tell somebody Happy Valentine's Day or you inside the spirit of Valentine's Day, or like you might give somebody flowers around this time and you tell them you love them, you're celebrating Roman mythology. You're celebrating Roman gods, as in plural gods, but not the God of the Bible, not the God of Israel. Aphrodite is the goddess of fertility. All right, Aphrodite is the goddess of fertility, and she was the mother of Eros. Now I'm about to tell you about who Eros is, because a lot of times Roman and Greek mythology, the names change, but the customs or the creatures or the gods, they're the same in what they do. They're just like a different universe or a different name. So we got Aphrodite is the goddess of fertility, and she's the mother of Eros. Eros is the god of love. All right, so you got the god of love. What Eros would do without warning, Eros would just go by and he would select a target and forcibly strike them with the heart, bringing confusion and an irresistible desire to whoever he struck with. Whoever he struck, that's who he chose. So he'll just choose randomly people. He'll struck them with his arrow. This is most often represented, like you can find this like in the Greek arts, and it's like of a carefree, what they'll call like a beautiful youth, and they'll be like covered with flowers. They'll be naked and they'll be covered with flowers, like especially roses. All right, so like what they will call Cupid. All right, so that's Eros. Eros will strike you, and you'll have an irresistible, undeniable love for this person. You have to have them. Even if they say no, you have to take it. So essentially, that's like forcing some woman against her will. We call that, I'm not sure if I can say the rape on here, but you're going to force someone to fall in love. You understand? So that's what Eros do. He's the god of love, and his mother is Aphrodite, is the goddess of fertility. February is the god of purification. So all this is nothing but different gods. So here it is. As kids, we thought that Valentine's Day is all about love. But we find out you got to deal with Eros, which is Cupid, in another word that people are familiar with. Fertility, you got to deal with the Feast of Lupercalia, which is nothing about sex, violence, and fertility. Then you got to deal with the purification of February. And then you got to deal with, because of that, if you honor that, you have to honor that the two twin brothers who were saved by a river god, and they founded the city of Rome. And then Romulus kills Remus, and they made sacrifice to those goats and those dogs to a dog called Luperci. Sacrifice was performed by Roman priests, and this is where you get your V-Day from. Valentine's Day is all about fertility. It's all about sex and different gods. But I do have a question for y'all, those who watching. You usually like the Cupid stuff. They take on the image of youth. Typically, youth are underage, but why not adult? They take on the image of a youth, and they'll make them go out and strike people with their little heart arrows or whatever, and they'll fall in love. Why is it that they make it out of the youth? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that they choose our children? All right. So I got a few scriptures, so I want to go over about what love is into the Bible. You know what I'm saying? I just got a few for y'all. I ain't gonna keep y'all too long. We're gonna go to the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 29 through about 31. So here's if you are a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American, if you know that you are African, not through ancestry.com, but like you know that your father is a Nigerian, or he's from Ghana, or Liberia, or he's from Libya, or North or South Sudan, or he's Somalian, or he's Zimbabwe, just to name a few African countries. If you are someone who had to go through ancestry.com or some DNA test and find out that you are an African, I'm more likely talking to you, unless if you know for certain. Outside of that, to the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are ordered by the Most High God of Israel to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. We're not to take part of some mythological twin brothers or two sodomite lovers of Titus and Puyo. We're not to take on. We should not give a damn about two sodomite lovers in the military. We should not give a damn about prostitutes in their symbol to say that you can come by here. We should not give a damn about Cupid or the purification month of February. We should not give a damn about none of those ideologies, because it's not of the Lord. It's not of the God of Israel. And we have like our own custom. Like, we don't wait till February 14th to tell fire to our wives. You know what I'm saying? Whenever you got the funds to do it, or they say the thought that counts. Whenever you got the time to do it. I know sometimes you might have a slavery and you might get off late, or whatever the case may be. Like, you can go out and show appreciation by small gestures. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to wait till the month of February to say that you love your husband, to say that you love your wife. You understand? So we have to be careful and to not follow the doctrines or the ideologies of other cultures. You understand? Like, that's the Romans culture. You know what I'm saying? That was a Greek's culture. If you ain't Roman, if you ain't Greek, to hell with it. Like, I just don't give a damn what the Chinese are doing, or whatever dong sniffing Africans are doing. You understand? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or any other of those countries. I just don't care what the Romans are doing. I don't care what the Ukrainians are doing. I just don't care what the Cometians are doing. You know what I'm saying? Or any Arab in the Middle East. Like, I'm not of those races of people. Like, I'm a part of a race of people whose identity, whose culture has been stolen. You understand? So if we get into this, the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 29. All right, it says, and Jesus answered him, the first of all commandments is, hear, O Israel. He's saying, hear, O Israel, not hear every race of every nation of people, not hear the Africans included, not hear the Germans included, not hear the Middle Easterns and the Chinese included. It says, hear, O Israel. The Lord our God is one Lord. Verse 30. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. The second is likely, namely this. I was like verse 31. And the second is likely, namely this. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. So this is how he's telling, like, you gotta love the Most High. And you read another book of in John, the Lord said, if you love him, you keep his commandments. So he's still telling you gotta keep his law, statutes, and commandments if you love the Most High. All right, we're gonna drop that. We're gonna go to 1 John 5 and 3. 1 John 5 and 3. Just got just a few more scriptures. And we'll get y'all out of here. They can keep y'all too long. All right, just bear with me while I pull up these rest of these scriptures. You at 1 John 5 and 3. So I'm just going to reiterate. So this is the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God. So now, the previous book I brought out is talking about if you love the Most High, you got to love the Most High with all thy heart, all thy mind, all thy soul. Now they're going to explain what the love is. It says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. That's how you love the Most High. You got to keep these commandments. So it's telling you got to follow these rules that the Bible put down. And we're not allowed to learn other customs of heathens. You can read Jeremiah 14 and 2. It says, learn not the way of the heathens. Like those Romans, they're heathens. February, V-Day, Lupercalia, those are what heathens do. We cannot learn their lifestyle. We got to separate ourselves from their lifestyle. Leave that for the heathens. Leave that for the Romans. We cannot partake into that. All right, so let me go to, I'm going to drop that. I'm going to go to Ephesians 5 and 25. So this is the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 25. It says, husband, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. So tell us, you gotta love your wife as well. You know, keep these commandments that teach you how to deal with a woman, to teach you how to deal with your husband, how you deal with children, how you deal with a brother, how you deal with a sister. Like we will order and talk how we're supposed to treat our people. Husbands, you have to love your wives. All right, I got just two more. I'm gonna go to Galatians 5 and 26. Let me see if I want that. Let's see what we got here. Galatians 5 and 26. Do I want this? Oh yeah, I'll take this one. Because sometimes when people see these gifts given on Valentine's Day, like they get all envious and they get jealous, and they do things that to be hurtful and to be hating, which we should not partake into none of it. Like we should not, minus those hearts, don't give out no hearts, none, especially none of that wickedness. We should just be giving gifts regularly. Like we should be giving gifts so much you won't know what day it is. Like it's just something we do on a regular basis. Like we should not need some Roman mythology or be pushed upon us in America to give gifts. We don't need nobody to tell us when we should give a gift. All right, so this is the book of Galatians chapter 5, verse 26. Let us not be desirous of vain glory. Like don't take pride into honoring this stupid pagan holiday that means nothing, and you taking glory inside something that means nothing. It's literally about two sodomite lovers who gave the heart of the enemy to another, and then you got two twins floating down a river, and they were suckled by a she-wolf, and they made sacrifice to dogs, and the city of Rome was named after them. Or they got the god of purification, or the feast of Lupercalia, or Eros, and what's the other name? Eros, Aphrodite, the goddess of fertility. Like these people take glory inside stuff that's very vain. Like right here it's telling, like, let me reread it. Let us not be desirous of vain glory. Like that means nothing. Don't take any glory in honoring like heathens' holidays or heathen customs. You understand? All right, I'm going to keep going. Provoking one another. Now here it is. So some cat buy somebody a nice gift and he want to stun on somebody else. This is a vainglory that you got money and you buy her $20,000 worth of designer clothes, or you spend money on a nice hotel and you bought her flowers. Like, this is stuff that you're trying to make people jealous by, trying to showboat. This is a vain glory, which means nothing. You understand? Like, this is something that's absolutely nothing. All right. So, I'm gonna keep going. So, let us not be desirous of vain glory, provoking one another, envying one another. Like, there we go. You're desiring something that means, you're desiring a holiday that means nothing, and you're glorifying it, and then you're going to provoke somebody to anger and be jealous. Like, if it's all about love, then let it be for love. Like, why do we feel the need that we have to promote and accept this lifestyle or accept this way of life? No, we don't have to accept this way of life. We don't have to accept this lifestyle. This is something that we can just separate from. So that's what the scripture says. Like, that's just something that's extremely vain. You understand? Like, Valentine's Day is extremely vain. I want to leave y'all with those scriptures. So just to do a brief recap. Forgive if I'm talking kind of fast. What we know so far about Valentine's Day, we know that Titus and Puyo were two homosexual soldiers that were lovers. All right, I'm just saying alternative lifestyle, two sodomites. And the Romans believed that if you had lovers in the military, that'll make you fight hard to protect one another. In the story of Titus, I said Titus and Puyo. Lucius Varenus and Titus Puyo. So about Lucius and Titus. Lucius and Titus were two soldiers. They were lovers. And they was inside the Roman military. They came up against an enemy. Lucius loved Titus. Well, Titus loved Lucius, same thing. But Titus loved Lucius, and an enemy was about to fatally. He was about to prevail against Lucius. Titus came in and saved his lover, and he prevailed against the enemy, defeated that enemy, took out his heart, and he gave it to Lucius. That's the birth of the giving away of the hearts. The Romans saw that story, and they promoted that within their military. So that's what we know. So the giving of the hearts come from Lucius and Titus, two sodomite soldiers in the Roman military. That's where the giving of the heart comes from. Now, the actual heart symbol, this right here, it comes from the term Shanghai. Well, like you'll be somewhere, like you could be in Britain or something, and they'll use like certain coercive techniques to trick you, or they'll kidnap you into putting you on their ships. And the reason why I call it Shanghai, because you would dock or land in Shanghai. And back then, certain places, like some prostitutes just couldn't come out and say they were prostitutes. So they'll have like that symbol, which is the heart symbol. And that heart symbol, I'll show it one more time. Hopefully that's like the heart. I got two arrows going down. And you see like the lines are drawn down. That is when someone's in front of you, if they stand up in front of you, if they bend over, it'll show YouTube. If they stand in front of you, if they bend over in front of you and touch like the ankles, that's what you would be seeing. So that's where the heart symbol comes from, and that's what the prostitutes were using, like some of those ships, and the sodomites as well. And that's how you used to get prostitution. So we got the giving of the heart that comes from Lucius and Titus. They changed. They didn't want to do the actual draw, so they went with this symbol of prostitution. So now you got the giving of the heart from prostitution, and then you got the Romulus and Remus of the Roman mythology. Two twin brothers floated down a river. They were saved by the river god Tiberinus, and they were suckled by a she-wolf, Lupercal, and they had a feast of Lupercalia, which is all about sex, violence and fertility. And they did that in February. And they celebrated annually every February 15th. Lupercalia was also known as Februatus, after the purification instruments called February, where the basis of the month was called Februarinus. And also Romulus kills Remus, those two twins. Those events led up to them founding the city of Rome, or the kingdom of Rome, named after Romulus. Aphrodite is the goddess of fertility and also the mother of Eros, and love. Some of y'all will know as Cupid. So all these Valentine's Day and Valentine's Day in the month of February, all this stuff comes from like just sex and lust and being a sexual deviant. So if you didn't learn anything, now we know today that we was taught wrong, that we was deceived that it's about love. It is not about love. And the Bible teaches what love is. Love is to God is keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. You understand? So we got to keep these laws. We got to keep our doctrine intact. We got to keep our culture intact, because we are the true Jews. I see a couple people in the chat saying I'm not a Jew. Well, like I said to somebody that was trolling earlier, just prove it. Just prove that I'm not. You know, so I gave out books that try to say it was fake. Those are actual books. You know, I can give you books written by so-called black people. I give you books written by Israelites. I give you books written by Africans. I give you books written by Europeans that'll tell you who the Jews are. Or you can just take the Bible, and the Bible tell you where the Jews are at. So there's a bevy of books you can read. We're just not going to entertain trolls today. Yeah, so if y'all did not learn nothing, we learned this today, that February is all about sex and lust. It was never about love. And if y'all got children, we should at some point teach our children, you know what, let's not deal with these heart shape, because we know that that's a symbol for prostitution. In the 1800s, called Shanghai, because they were dark or land inside of Shanghai. Let's not deal with the hearts, because that was about Lucius and Titus. He prevailed against the enemy, took out their enemy's heart and gave it to his sodomite lover, his boyfriend. We can't do nothing with the giving of the hearts. So minus the hearts, the giving of the hearts, minus this heart symbol. What else we got? February, that's about Roman gods. Cupid. So if y'all did not learn nothing, we now know that what Valentine's Day in February was all about. I might, in the next class, I might go into a little more detail about February, because it's all about sex and more killing. I might go into like the Valentine's Day, where that word comes from, just to teach our people. So also we got scripture breakdown coming up this upcoming Thursday. Tune in for that. And Monday, tune in next Monday for sure. And I'll be here teaching. I might start going live on TikTok as we learn like the language. So I might teach how we speak the language of Hebrew on Friday, starting at 7 p.m. Central Time. 7 p.m. Central Time. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end the class. If you got any more questions, just let's see what we got here in this chat. All right, so like it to the sisters, or to the men of Israel, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah Barakatah. To the sisters, Yahweh Shema Alatha Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. Shalom.
Shalom. It's that time again, Israel. It's the Lord's 54th annual Passover in North Carolina.
Y'all know what we do. Y'all know what we came to do. Huh?
The ISUPK, under Commandant General Yohana, will be hosting the Lord's 54th annual Passover in Raleigh, North Carolina, at the Downtown Convention Center. This is something that you do not want to miss. Make sure that y'all bring the entire family. The Downtown Raleigh Convention Center. For blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Go to ISUPK.com to purchase your tickets today. $200 per every adult over the age of 17 years old.
We are not the same. No, we not related. I'm not stuck on living. Death is a vacation. My camp undefeated. You cannot debate it. You just want the clout.
The
We just want the
Lord,
grade.
54th annual Passover, April the 1st, is coming down to Raleigh, North Carolina. That's right. Commander General Yohana has done it again. You don't want to miss this. Pull yourself. Pull yourself.
They did not want to be
One Westboro.
Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Handle lights and teddy bears, I'm trying to leave your block romantic. Flicking off the hip, I leave the scene looking like I'm dancing. Ain't one Westworld, best believe we not gonna stamp it. Titties on a drum, the stick figure looking outstanding. Rip his top with the hands of the Lord, call that God tears. Send a spear right to the sky and watch his front tear. I'm that nigga cause I run with them niggas, so let's get that clear. Don't question who say I'm the GOAT, I tell them God did. Order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. To me that's suicide. Of course I sound cocky to a glizzy eater, fuck your pride. Don't need a horoscope to see I'm a star, so fuck your sign. You can believe in anything you want, but as for me and mine, God mode. I am what I am, so let's just keep in mind. Don't wanna be like Yaya Kyrie, they wanna be like I. She said she lost until she found me, and then she found a tribe, and then I make a bout face until she called me out of wine. The weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. All time, no questions asked, we come and find you. His problems, my problems, and I'm standing behind you. Stepping with style, I'm standing on shit of my product. I take on the crowd, tell them all, throw in the towel. Half moon with a silencer, make it sound like a howl. We the shit, we about movements with a growl. Heavy is the head with the crown, when I take it I'm proud. I get the order, bring my sword back wet with a smile, nigga. I'm an Israelite rapper, nigga. Would never hit his wife, but I'll go at you. I make commitments to a gun if I'm talking about a tantrums. Nigga said he a stand-up dude, that mean we laughing, nigga. Jumped on the beat, start snapping, you leaving fractures. Red and green bean, I'm Gucci, you thinking fashion. There go shoot for the green, and I ain't talking St. Patrick. You screaming all lives, I'm screaming all guns matter. Keep it biblical, talking in parables, cause it matter. If I say bring Jake up, I'm talking about a ladder. He was the wave till I came with the fire, no John the Baptist. Who cared you did it first, you should be worried about who after. I'm connected in any habitat, shit I adapted. Nose job on a brand new snub is all plastic. That's why I show up the court with jeans on, I'm never slacking. You a rapper turned Israelite, I'm an Israelite rapping. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. Weapons of our warfare is not carnal, I was born in it. You converted, this is not for you. Leave an imprint of my legacy with a spot for you. No way you can endure to the end if you not loyal. All time, no questions asked, we come and find you. His problems, my problem. Stepping with style, I'm standing on shit of my product. I take my pride, tell them all, throw in the towel. Throw in the towel. Heavy is the head with the crown, when I take it I'm proud. I get the order, bring my sword back.